Welcome, and thank you for coming tonight. Tonight, we will be presenting 3 new alternatives to the superintendent's initial recommendation for the Crestwood Area Redistricting Study. The superintendent's initial recommendation was presented to the Board of Education at their meeting on May 3rd, 2023. 4 community meetings were also held in May to present the recommendation to the school communities, respond to questions, and receive comments. In response to the comments received in May, the Board of Education directed staff to prepare alternatives to the initial recommendation for their consideration. Staff evaluated multiple alternatives and then prepared 3 alternatives to bring before the board that address community comments while at the same time address the Board of Education Policy 200. You will find that not all alternatives address all comments or equally address the factors found in Policy 200. I also note that several neighborhoods that were not impacted in the initial superintendent's recommendation may now be impacted in one or more of the alternatives. The addendum to the superintendent's recommendation that we'll be discussing tonight can be found on the project webpage at www.fcps.org. The interactive map on the project webpage has also been updated. When you enter your address in the search box at the top of the map and click Enter, you will be taken to the address on the map and a drop-down box will appear. Information in the drop-down box will identify the current attendance areas for that address, as well as the proposed attendance areas for the superintendent's initial recommendation and for each of the 3 alternatives. Finally, I want to point out that in reviewing the superintendent's recommendation to develop the new alternatives, staff made a correction to the Governor Thomas Johnson High School enrollment projections. The 2024 projection should be 113%, and the 2029 projection should be 106%. The correction has been included in the addendum. Staff also reconfirmed the other data in the initial report to validate information and found no other corrections. We also contracted with Cropper GIS to review and confirm all data utilized in both the superintendent's initial recommendation and in the alternatives. I'm going to begin with a quick summary of the superintendent's initial recommendation. So in the superintendent's initial recommendation, the following changes were recommended for the elementary school attendance areas. The neighborhood that's located on Himes Avenue, which is this area in green, this is planning blocks 199, 200, and 201, is recommended to move from Orchard Grove Elementary School to Butterfly Ridge Elementary School. The neighborhood of Jefferson Park West, located on the southeast side of Maryland 180, which is planning block 198, is recommended to move from Butterfly Ridge to Orchard Grove Elementary School. The portion of the Farmbrook neighborhood, planning blocks 238, 241, 242, and 243, on the east side of Ballinger Creek Pike, is recommended to move from Ballinger Creek Elementary School to Orchard Grove Elementary School. And then finally, at the elementary school level, the neighborhood located just south of Tuscarora Elementary School, known as the Linton East neighborhood, which is planning blocks 261 and 262, is recommended to move from Tuscarora Elementary School to Carroll Manor Elementary School. At the middle school level, the superintendent's initial recommendation recommends moving the neighborhoods on the east side of Yellow Springs Road, known as Kellerton, Land Bay B, West Hills, and Old Farm neighborhoods, and also Fort Detrick, from West Frederick Middle School to Monocacy Middle School. In this pink area on the map, which is the current Waverly Elementary School attendance area, is recommended to move from Monocacy Middle School to West Frederick Middle School. The current Hillcrest Elementary School attendance area, shown in purple here, is recommended to move from West Frederick Middle School to Crestwood Middle School. This neighborhood, let me move back. This neighborhood in the blue, which is Jefferson Park West and Jefferson Tech Park, is recommended to move from Crestwood Middle School to Ballinger Creek Middle School. And then the neighborhood in purple here, which is Robbins Meadow and Kingcrest Apartments and Kingsbrook neighborhoods, planning blocks 224, 225, 226, 227, 228, 229, 230, 250, and 252, is recommended to move from Ballinger Creek Middle School to Crestwood Middle School. And then finally, this neighborhood of Wellington Trace and Manors at Ballinger Creek neighborhoods, planning blocks 253, 254, 255, 256, 258, 259, and 260 is recommended to move from Crestwood Middle School to Ballinger Creek Middle School. At the high school level, this area in blue is the current Whittier Elementary School attendance area. And this entire area is recommended to move from Frederick High School to Governor Thomas Johnson High School. These neighborhoods on the eastern side of the current Waverly Elementary School attendance area that include the neighborhoods of Waverly View, Commons of Avalon, Overlook at Avalon, Coventry, Baker Place Apartments, Littlebrook, Willowdale Apartments, Willow Crest, and the residences of the Manor neighborhoods, is recommended to move from Governor Thomas Johnson High School to Frederick High School. These neighborhoods that we've seen before of Jefferson Park West and Jefferson Tech Park is recommended to move from Frederick High School to Tuscarora High School. And then finally, the neighbors in this area that surround Lincoln Elementary School, Carrollton Park, Mount Olivet Cemetery, and McCurdy Fields, which are planning blocks 139, 140, 141, 142, 143, and 144, is recommended to move from Tuscarora High School to Frederick High School. So with the superintendent's initial recommendations, 2,448 students are impacted by the proposed attendance boundary changes. In the superintendent's recommendation, all 5 middle schools are under 100% of capacity in 5 years, and the enrollments are better balanced across the 5 schools than they are in the current attendance boundaries. The projected enrollments at Ballinger Creek Elementary School and Tuscarora Elementary School in 2029 are reduced by 5 and 9 percentage points respectively from their 5-year projections with the current attendance boundaries. This recommendation does create a split at Whittier Elementary School and at West Frederick Middle School, but both splits are relatively balanced, with 33% of Whittier Elementary School going to Monocacy Middle School and 67% going to West Frederick Middle School. At West Frederick Middle School, 53% would go to Frederick High School and 47% would go to Governor Thomas Johnson High School. The superintendent's initial recommendation also creates a better balanced split feeder at Ballinger Creek Elementary School, with 50% of the students now going to Ballinger Creek Middle School and 50% going to Crestwood Middle School. It also eliminates the split feeder at Orchard Grove Elementary School. In this recommendation, the number of multilingual learners increases by 9 percentage points at Crestwood Middle School to 19%, while the number of multilingual learners decreases by 10 percentage points at Monocacy Middle School to 5%. The students eligible for free and reduced meals at Frederick High School increases by 10 percentage points to 61%, while the number of students at Governor Thomas Johnson High School decreases by 6 percentage points to 45%. And finally, the superintendent's initial recommendation increases the number of students walking to school by 175 students. So now I'm going to show you, this is what the elementary school attendance boundaries would look like under the superintendent's recommendations, the middle school attendance boundaries, and the high school attendance boundaries. So now with alternative 1, in this alternative, the changes for the elementary school attendance areas include the neighborhoods along Himes Avenue, planning blocks 199, 200, and 201, would be moved from Orchard Grove Elementary School to Butterfly Ridge Elementary School. The neighborhood of Jefferson Park West would move from Butterfly Ridge Elementary School to Orchard Grove Elementary School. And in alternative 1, not only would the portion of Farm Brook that is shown in the superintendent's recommendation, but the remainder of the Farm Brook neighborhood would also move from Ballinger Creek Elementary School to Orchard Grove Elementary School. The neighborhood that's south of Tuscarora Elementary School, Linton East, is not included to move in this alternative. Instead, this alternative moves the neighborhood of Westview South, planning block 249, from Tuscarora Elementary School to Ballinger Creek Elementary School. At the middle school level, alternative 1 moves this large pink area, which is the current Waverly Elementary School attendance area. And this area moves from Monocacy Middle School to West Frederick Middle School. The current Hillcrest Elementary School attendance area, shown in purple, moves from West Frederick Middle School to Crestwood Middle School. This blue neighborhood of Jefferson Park West and Jefferson Tech Park moves from Crestwood Middle School to Ballinger Creek Middle School. The neighborhood of Wellington Trace and Manors at Ballinger Creek, also shown in blue, also moves from Crestwood Middle School to Ballinger Creek Middle School. And then finally, this neighborhood shown in purple moves from, which is Robbins Meadows and Kings Crest and Kings Brook neighborhoods, moves from Ballinger Creek Middle to Crestwood Middle School. At the high school level, the changes that are included in alternative 1 include this western portion of the Whittier Elementary School attendance area that is west of Rocky Springs Road. This is planning block 77, 78, 80, 81, and 82. And this area moves from Frederick High School to Governor Thomas Johnson High School. The neighborhoods that are on the east side of the current Waverly Elementary School attendance area, the neighborhoods of Waverly View, Commons of Avalon, Overlook at Avalon, Coventry, Baker Place Apartments, Littlebrook, Willowdale, Willow Crest, and the residences at the Manor neighborhoods move from Governor Thomas Johnson High School to Frederick High School. And finally, in this alternative at the high school level, the neighborhoods of Jefferson Park West and Jefferson Tech Park move from Frederick High School to Tuscarora High School. In this option, alternative 1 impacts approximately 1,800 students, which is less than the superintendent's initial recommendation. And just as in the superintendent's initial recommendation, all 5 middle schools are projected to be below 100% of capacity in 5 years. However, the enrollments are not as equally balanced across the 5 schools, with Monocacy Middle School at 60% of capacity, West Frederick Middle School at 80%, 88%, and the remaining 3 middle schools between 90 and 97% of capacity. Governor Thomas Johnson and Tuscarora High Schools are projected to be below capacity in 2029 at 90 and 95% respectively in this alternative, while Frederick High School is projected to be over capacity at 123%. In alternative 1, the Linton East neighborhood adjoining the Tuscarora Elementary School remains in the Tuscarora Elementary School attendance area, while the Westview South neighborhood is moved to Ballinger Creek Middle School to provide enrollment relief. It's moved to Ballinger Creek Elementary School to provide enrollment relief to Tuscarora Elementary School. The entire Farmbrook neighborhood now moves to Ballinger Creek Elementary School from Ballinger Creek Elementary School to Orchard Grove Elementary School. And then just as in the superintendent's recommendation, the split feeder at Orchard Grove Elementary School has been eliminated. But in contrast to the superintendent's initial recommendation, this alternative keeps Whittier Elementary School feeding entirely to West Frederick Middle School. While West Frederick Middle School is still a split feeder in this alternative, it is not as well balanced as in the superintendent's initial recommendation, with 74% of the school going to West Frederick Middle School. I'm sorry, with 74% of the West Frederick Middle School students going to Frederick High School and 26% going to Governor Thomas Johnson High School. The number of students eligible for free and reduced meals is slightly less at Ballinger Creek Elementary School, West Frederick Middle School, and Frederick High School in alternative 1 than in the superintendent's initial recommendation, and about the same at the other elementary and middle schools. At the high school level, the number of students eligible for free and reduced meals is slightly higher at Governor Thomas Johnson High School and Tuscarora High School in alternative 1. In alternative 1, the number of multilingual learners is slightly less at Ballinger Creek Elementary and West Frederick Middle School, and about the same at the other elementary and middle schools. At the high school level, the number of multilingual learners is slightly less at Frederick High School and slightly higher at Governor Thomas Johnson High School. And finally, the number of walkers in alternative 1 is less than the superintendent's initial recommendation. So this would be the elementary school attendance boundaries for alternative 1, the middle school attendance boundaries for alternative 2, for alternative 1, and the high school attendance boundaries for alternative 1. And now I am going to turn it over to Amber Millicent of our office to walk you through alternative 2 and alternative 3.
All right, thank you, Beth. So at the elementary school level for alternative 2, this big screen. The changes in alternative 2 for elementary schools are the same as the proposed changes in alternative 1. So again, we have the neighborhoods along Himes Avenue, right over here, which is planning blocks 199, 200, and 201. These would be moving from Orchard Grove Elementary to Butterfly Ridge Elementary. And then again, we have the Jefferson Park West neighborhood, which is planning block 198, recommended to move from Butterfly Ridge Elementary to Orchard Grove Elementary. And then in this alternative, the entire Farmbrook neighborhood, which includes planning blocks 238, 239, 240, 241, 242, and 243, is recommended to move from Ballinger Creek Elementary to Orchard Grove Elementary. And then lastly, at the elementary school level for this option, the Westview South neighborhood, right over here, which is planning block 249, is recommended to move from Tuscarora Elementary to Ballinger Creek Elementary. You'll notice in this option, again, that the Linton East neighborhood, which is just south of Tuscarora Elementary, stays at Tuscarora Elementary as opposed to the superintendent's recommendation, where it was moved to Carroll Manor Elementary. And then at the middle school level, this area in green up at the top is the entire Whittier Elementary attendance area. And this is recommended to move from West Frederick Middle School to Monocacy Middle School. So unlike the superintendent's recommendation, it's no longer split at Whittier Elementary. It's just feeding to a different middle school. And then likewise, the area in pink is the entire Waverly Elementary attendance area. And this area is recommended to move from Monocacy Middle to West Frederick Middle School. And then just like the previously discussed options, this area in purple is the entire Hillcrest Elementary attendance area. It is being recommended to move from West Frederick Middle to Crestwood Middle. And then again, we have the Jefferson Park West and Jefferson Tech Park neighborhoods here in blue. These are planning blocks 198, 202, 203, 204, 205, and 206. These are being recommended to move from Crestwood Middle to Ballinger Creek Middle. And then two more changes. In blue down at the bottom, we have the Wellington Trace neighborhood, Lambert Drive coming right through the center here. And then also the Manors at Ballinger Creek neighborhoods. These are planning blocks 253, 254, 255, 256, 258, 259, and 260. And again, these are recommended to move from Crestwood Middle to Ballinger Creek Middle. Lastly, for the middle schools under Alternative 2, again, this is the Robin Meadows neighborhood right around here, and all of the Kingsbrook neighborhoods up here. These are planning blocks 224, 225, 226, 227, 228, 229, 230, 250, and 252. Again, these are being recommended to move from Ballinger Creek Middle to Crestwood Middle. And then at the high school level for Alternative 2, we have, again, the entire Whittier Elementary attendance area in blue up at the top of your map. This is being recommended to move from Frederick High to TJ High. So if you recall, at the middle school level, this area was moved into Monocacy Middle. So again, in this alternative, Whittier Elementary is no longer a split feeder. It just feeds directly to Monocacy Middle and then onto TJ High. Again, we have the entire Waverly Elementary attendance area in yellow here. And this area is recommended to move from TJ High to Frederick High. And again, this makes this area a clean feeder from Waverly to West Frederick and then on to Frederick High. And the last change at the high school level for Alternative 2, again, is this Jefferson Park West and Jefferson Tech Park neighborhoods, moving from Frederick High to Tuscarora High. So with these proposed changes in Alternative 2, the elementary school attendance areas would look like this. Then we have the middle school attendance areas for Alternative 2. And lastly, the high school attendance areas for Alternative 2. So under Alternative 2, this is the alternative with the highest number of students moved, with 2,799 students being moved. However, many of these moves result from an entire elementary attendance area feeding to a different middle school or high school. So Alternative 2 eliminates the existing split feeder at Orchard Grove Elementary, just as the superintendent's recommendation and Alternative 1 have done. And this option also eliminates the split feeder at Whittier Elementary that we saw in the superintendent's recommendation, as well as the West Frederick Middle School split has been removed in this option, which we saw in both the superintendent's recommendation and in Alternative 1. The split at Tuscarora Elementary is better balanced in this option, so it's closer to a 50-50 split. And the Ballinger Creek Elementary split now becomes about a 60-40 split, which is better than it exists today. However, that is not as balanced as it was in the superintendent's recommendation. By 2029, all middle schools in the study area are projected to be below 100% capacity. However, they are not as equally distributed as the previously mentioned options. So in 2029, West Frederick Middle School is projected to be at only 61% of capacity, while the other 4 middle schools in the study area will be above 90% of capacity, but still below 100%. At the high school level, Frederick High is still projected to be over 100% of capacity, so it's at 115% in 2029 under Alternative 2. So this is higher than it was in the superintendent's recommendation, but lower than Alternative 1. And then TJ and Tuscarora High Schools in Alternative 2 do remain below 100% of capacity in 2029. And then compared to existing numbers, the percent of students eligible for free and reduced meals is lower at Monocacy Middle School, and then it's higher at Crestwood and West Frederick Middle Schools in Alternative 2. In this alternative, West Frederick has about 70% of students eligible for free and reduced meals, and this is the highest percentage in all 4 options. And at the high school level, Frederick High goes up to 63% of students eligible for free and reduced meals, whereas TJ High drops to 40%. And under current boundaries, both of these schools are at 51% of students eligible for free and reduced meals. And then in Alternative 2, the percent of multilingual learners at West Frederick Middle is, again, the highest out of all 4 options at 22%. And the percentage of multilingual learners at Frederick High School is also the highest of all 4 options at 25% multilingual learners. In this option, both TJ and Tuscarora High Schools are at 6% multilingual learners. And lastly, for Alternative 2, the number of walkers in this option is the same as Alternative 1. So compared to existing boundaries, we gain about 109 additional walkers under this option. Okay. Now moving on to Alternative 3. As usual, starting at the elementary level, you'll see that there are no proposed changes at the elementary level in Alternative 3. At the middle school level, we do have one change. The only recommended change here is to move a portion of the Waverly Elementary attendance area from Monocacy Middle to Crestwood Middle. And the area that's being moved is roughly the neighborhoods west of Waverly Drive. So we have Waverly Drive kind of coming through the middle right here. This does not include the Elmwood Terrace apartments, so these Elmwood Terrace apartments would stay in the Monocacy Middle attendance area. And then, contrary to the Waverly Drive dividing line, we also have the Waverly View neighborhood, which is slightly east of Waverly Drive. This neighborhood is also being recommended to move from Monocacy Middle to Crestwood Middle. So the planning blocks in this area that are recommended to move to Crestwood are blocks 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 93, and 94. And then lastly, at the high school level, just like elementary, this alternative does not recommend any changes to our high school attendance areas. So the final elementary attendance areas in Alternative 3 would look like this. This is exactly how they look today. Middle school attendance areas would look like this. So we still have that portion of the Waverly Elementary attendance area that goes to Monocacy Middle School. It is still discontinuous from the rest of the Monocacy Middle School attendance area. And then at the high school level, attendance areas would look like this, which again is how they look, how they exist today. So in response to community comments that wanted to limit the number of impacted students, staff looked at an alternative that could move the least number of students. And this is what Alternative 3 was focused on, just trying to balance enrollments between Monocacy Middle and Crestwood Middle, which are the two schools that have the highest and lowest percent capacities, respectively. So we proposed a single move from Monocacy Middle to Crestwood, and this moves the least number of students in all of our options and balances enrollments at the middle school level so that 4 of the middle schools will not be over 100% of capacity in 2029. However, Crestwood Middle is projected to be slightly over capacity, just at 101% by 2029. In addition, enrollments aren't distributed very evenly across the middle schools in this alternative, so we have a low of 67% at West Frederick Middle in 2029, and a high, like I just said, of 101% at Crestwood Middle in 2029. I also want to point out that this alternative results in a 3-way split at Crestwood Middle, so we'll have about 34% of students going to Frederick High, 20% going to TJ High, and 46% going to Tuscarora High. This Alternative 3 also creates a split feeder at Waverly Elementary School that did not exist before, split between Monocacy Middle School and Crestwood Middle School. And then Orchard Grove Elementary School remains a split feeder, so in the previously discussed options, we were able to eliminate the split at Orchard Grove. This alternative was unable to do that. And in this Alternative 3, the split at Ballinger Creek Elementary School remains unbalanced as it is today, with 81% of students moving on to Ballinger Creek Middle and 19% to Crestwood Middle. In addition, this Alternative 3 provides no enrollment relief to any of the elementary or high schools in the study area, and we've projected Ballinger Creek Elementary to reach 144% of capacity by 2029, and Tuscarora Elementary to reach 143% in 2029. Right. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to the email address on your screen or visit our project webpage and complete the survey.